Be me 26, I guess. Name's Alex now. 5 years on testosterone. Double mastectomy with nipple grafts. The whole 9 yards. I pass 100% of the time. 5'7", on a good day, deep voice, patchy but undeniable beard that I'm weirdly proud of. To any random person on the street, I'm just a guy. A short guy maybe, but a guy nonetheless. And I think I've made a terrible, irreversible mistake. Let's rewind. 10 years ago. Be me, 16. Let's call her Alexis. Alexis was fine. Awkward, nerdy, didn't fit in with the popular girls. Hated dresses, hated makeup, hated the way my body was starting to curve in ways that didn't feel like my own. Puberty was a horror show. Felt like my body was being hijacked by some alien entity. Spent all my time on Tumblr and Reddit. This was the golden age of social justice blogging. Egg culture was at its peak. You know the drill. If you're even wondering if you're trans, you probably are. Every little thing was a sign. Don't like your chest? Dysphoria. Like wearing hoodies and playing video games? You're a boy on the inside. Feel disconnected from your peers? It's because you're not your true self. It was a seductive narrative. It explained everything. It wasn't that I was just an awkward teen struggling with anxiety and body image issues like literally every other teenager on the planet. No, I had a noble, secret identity. I was a man trapped in a woman's body. It was romantic. It was special. It gave my mundane teenage angst a sense of purpose. My online friends, all of them some flavor of queer, were my lifeline. They were the ones who told me I was valid, brave, stunning. They photoshopped beards on my pictures and called me by my chosen name. It was a rush, a hit of dopamine stronger than any drug. For the first time, I felt seen, not as Alexis, the weird girl, but as Alex, the cool, mysterious trans guy. My real-life problems didn't disappear, but they were drowned out by the constant chorus of online affirmation. I built my entire identity around this idea. I consumed trans content voraciously. Transition timelines, voice drop comparisons, top surgery reveals. It was all so positive. Everyone was so happy. Their lives were perfect now. They had loving partners, cool jobs, and a deep, unshakable sense of self. I wanted that more than anything. The narrative was simple. Life as a woman is oppressive and difficult. Life as a man, while not without its problems, is a life of freedom, respect, and privilege. All I had to do was cross the bridge. So I decided to cross it. First few years were the honeymoon phase. Started T at 21. It was magic. My voice started cracking and dropping within months. I'd listen to old recordings of my voice and laugh. My shoulders broadened. My jawline sharpened. I started growing hair in places I'd only ever had to shave. The first time a stranger called me sir, I almost cried. It was at a coffee shop. Here's your change, sir. Sir. Me. I floated out of there on a cloud of euphoria. Top surgery was next. Waking up from that, groggy and in pain, but looking down at a flat chest. It was the single greatest moment of my life up to that point. I could wear a thin t-shirt without a binder. I could go swimming shirtless. I felt free. Truly, utterly free. My friends threw me a "it's a boy" party. My parents, bless their hearts, tried their best. They stumbled over pronouns, but they were trying. I was the brave trans kid, the one who was living his truth. I was a minor celebrity in my social circle. People looked up to me. They told me how much courage I had, and I believed them. I thought, this is it. I've done it. I've beaten the game. The honeymoon ended slowly, then all at once. It wasn't one big event. It was 1,000 tiny paper cuts. It started with the little things. I was walking home from a late class, and a woman walking in front of me glanced back, saw me, and immediately crossed the street, clutching her purse. My first instinct was confusion. Then it hit me. Oh, I'm the scary man in the dark now. I wasn't her peer, her ally in the sisterhood. I was a potential threat. It happened again and again. Women would avoid making eye contact. They'd take a step away if I stood too close in an elevator. They'd stop talking and laugh when I walked into a room. I had crossed a line, and I didn't even see it until I was on the other side. My female friendships, the bedrock of my entire social life, started to erode. They didn't abandon me. They just changed. The easy intimacy was gone. The late night talks about feelings, fears, and relationships dried up. I was no longer one of them. I was an outsider. They'd stop themselves mid-sentence. Oh, sorry, Alex. Girl talk. I was now part of the group they complained about. The men who didn't listen, who didn't understand. I tried to bridge the gap, to tell them I was the same person inside, but I wasn't. My body, my voice, my place in the world had changed. I was a man now, and men weren't allowed in the inner sanctum. Fine, I thought. I'll make male friends. Holy shit. It's like learning a new language you've only ever heard spoken in movies. The head nod, the silent acknowledgement, up for a stranger, down for a friend. I messed it up for months. The communication is completely different. It's all subtext and banter. You don't talk about your feelings. You hint at them through jokes and sarcasm. You don't bond by sharing vulnerabilities. You bond by sharing activities. Watching sports, playing video games, working on a car. I tried. I joined a local soccer league. I went to bars to watch the game. I made some friends, but it felt shallow. We could talk for hours about football stats or the best way to grill a steak. But if I tried to bring up something that was actually bothering me, the conversation conversation would screech to a halt. Damn, that sucks, man. Hey, you see the game last night? The subject change was so fast it would give you whiplash. I learned the lesson quickly. Show no weakness, ever. Weakness is met with either awkward silence or ridicule. The only emotion that's truly acceptable to show in its raw form is anger. Then came the world of work. As Alexis, I'd worked retail and food service. It sucked, but it was safe. Customers could be rude, but there was a sense of camaraderie with my mostly female coworkers. Now, as Alex, I wanted a man's job. I needed to prove myself. I got a job in a warehouse, loading trucks, operating a forklift. It was my first real taste of what I now call male disposability. The work was backbreaking. 12-hour shifts on my feet, lifting heavy boxes in a dusty, non-air-conditioned building. The pay was barely enough to cover rent and bills. Nobody cared if you were tired or sore or sick. Suck it up, buttercup. Don't be a pussy. Get it done. That was the mantra. I saw men in their 40s and 50s, their bodies completely wrecked. Bad backs, blown out knees, hands gnarled with arthritis. They just kept going, because they had to. Mortgages to pay, kids to feed. There was no sympathy. There was only the expectation that you show up, do your job, and don't complain. One day, a guy fell off a loading dock and broke his leg. It was a nasty break, bones sticking out. The supervisor's first words were not, "Is he okay?" They were, "Shit, how are we going to get this truck loaded on time?" That was my welcome to manhood moment. Your body is not your own. It is a tool to be used, and if it breaks, it will be replaced. This was the privilege I had signed up for. Dating was the final nail in the coffin. As a butch lesbian, dating wasn't easy, but it was possible. There was a community. There were understood dynamics. I was desirable within my niche. As a 5'7" trans man, I was functionally invisible. I downloaded the apps: Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, Crickets. I'd get a few matches here and there, mostly from chasers who fetishized my trans status, or from people who didn't read my profile and were shocked when I told them. The pressure to be the initiator is relentless. You have to send the first message. You have to be clever and charming. You have to drive the conversation. You have to ask them out. You have to plan the date. You have to pay for the date. It's a second full-time job, and the pay is constant, soul-crushing rejection. I'd spend hours crafting the perfect profile. Good pictures, a witty bio, nothing. I watched my female friends, even the ones I didn't consider conventionally attractive, get hundreds of likes a day. They complained about having too many options. I would have killed for one genuine, enthusiastic match. The loneliness is a physical weight. It's a constant, dull ache in the center of your chest. As a woman, even when I was single, I was never truly touch-starved. Hugs from friends were common. Casual physical affection was normal. As a man, the only person who has touched me in the last year is my barber. You are expected to be a rock, a provider, a protector. But who provides for you? Who protects you? The answer is no one. So here I am, sitting in my tiny, overpriced apartment. My back hurts from my shift. My fridge is mostly empty. My phone is silent. And I'm thinking. I think about Alexis. I remember her life. The problems she had were real. The dysphoria was real. But she was also safe. She had a support system. She had a community. If she failed, there was a safety net of societal sympathy for women. If she cried, people would comfort her. If she was scared, people would protect her. The world expected her to be beautiful and agreeable. I hated those expectations. But the world expects me, Alex, to be strong, competent, and productive. And if I'm not, I'm worthless. I'm a failure as a man. I was told I was escaping a prison and entering a world of privilege. They lied. I escaped a minimum security facility with a library and a garden, and I've broken into a maximum security gulag where the inmates are also the guards. The patriarchy I was taught to hate, it's not a boys' club designed to benefit all men. It's a brutal pyramid scheme, and men like me are the foundation. We are the disposable grunts whose broken bodies and silent suffering pave the way for the tiny few at the top. There is no privilege here. There is only duty, expectation, and the cold, hard indifference of the world. I look in the mirror. I see a man's face, a tired man's face. I run my hand over my beard. I feel the rough texture. I speak, and a man's voice comes out. These are the things I once wanted more than life itself. Now they feel like the bars of a cage I built for myself. I didn't hate being a woman. I hated the specific feminine performance I was failing at. So I traded it for a masculine performance that is 10 times more demanding, with a penalty for failure that is 1,000 times more severe. MFW, I realized I didn't want to be a man. I just wanted the assumed respect and freedom of men. MFW, I realized that respect is conditional and that freedom is a myth. MFW, I realized that what I really wanted was to be left alone, and I chose the one path that guarantees you will never be. The world never stops demanding things from men. Your time, your labor, your strength, your protection, your money, your life. And the worst part, the absolute soul-destroying worst part, I can't talk about this to anyone. If I go to my old friends, the trans-affirming crowd, and tell them I regret it, I'm a monster. I'm a traitor. I'm spreading dangerous turf rhetoric. I'm invalidating the identities of others. My personal experience is a political threat. They will cast me out so fast my head will spin. If I go to anyone on the right, the people who were against against this from the start? I'm a punchline, a cautionary tale. See, we told you so. They won't see my pain. They'll see a political victory. I'm not a person to either side. I'm a symbol, a pawn in a culture war I want no part of. So I'm silent. I'm alone, trapped in a life I chose under false pretenses. I didn't just change my name and my body. I changed my difficulty setting from normal to nightmare and threw away the manual. There's no going back. I can't undeepen my voice. I can't ungrow this beard. I can't magically reattach my breasts. I am Alex. I just have to be a man now. And I will go to my grave knowing that being a man is lonelier, harder, and more painful than I ever could have possibly imagined.